Hello and welcome to EduChemy's Gazette discussion for 7th June 2021. My name is Harsh Singh and I'm privileged to hold a discussion for 100th version, 100th edition of our magazine, The Daily Gazette. We present the magazine on 5 days from Monday to Friday on EduChemy's website. You can also download the PDF version of this magazine by registering on the website. Today's articles are very important. The featured article is about climate neutrality. Lately in news, we have covered various facets to this issue. The important day in history, it is represented by the incident that happened at Peter Maritzburg station. We will show a glimpse of this in today's Gazette. News snapshots. We have covered two articles. One is on international taxation issue, the corporate tax deal, and the second one is on model citizen charter for the panchayats. Image of the day, a very creative image which was in news because it got sold, Buddha in contemplation. Terms and concept. We have covered four important terms and concepts. One is on organization of for the prohibition of chemical weapons. The second one is Devika River project in Jammu Kashmir, developments related to it. The third one is about green gold on government e-market portal. And the fourth one is about the CVC's instructions on hiring of officials who have already retired, right? We have covered two editorials in today's edition. One is about resilience of coastal cities with respect to the cyclones, and the second one is about the GST structures and some issues related to it. Case study of the day is about an important person, Miyawaki, and how his initiative helped growing of urban forests. So let's begin the discussion. The first article for today is on climate neutrality. Humans have tried their level best to ensure reduction in climate change. However, still, the increase in amount of greenhouse gas emission has caused global warming. It has resulted in rise in sea surface temperature. It has caused increase in frequency and intensity of natural disasters like cyclones, floods, etc. Now, humans have now introduced the concept of climate neutrality to counter it. What does it mean? It very simply means that we will continue and initiate actions in a manner that climate stays neutral, right? So this is the main idea behind climate neutrality. In this article, we will talk about what climate neutrality means, what is the importance of it, what will happen by helping this initiative, what are the commitments that various countries have put in because of this introduction of climate neutrality, what is India's stance on this issue, and what are the various innovative things that can be done under this heading, right? Before that, we will quickly understand the concept behind it. Just like there is water cycle where there is evaporation of water with the help of radiations of sun, and later water falls back to earth because of precipitation, because of rains. So the whole cycle is maintained. Similarly, carbon dioxide has also got a cycle of its own. Humans emit carbon dioxide by burning of fossil fuels. For example, burning of fossil fuels in industries, running of vehicles, and it gets into the air. Similarly, there are forests which will absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. And we do also have oceans. They absorb carbon dioxide as well. So a whole cycle of carbon dioxide is maintained, right? If we ensure that this cycle is maintained in some manner or the other, that the emissions that we cause, they are equal to the amount of absorption, this is going to help in climate neutrality, right? It will make the emission of carbon dioxide zero, right? So when we talk about net zero, does it mean zero emissions? No, it means that we are offsetting the amount of production of carbon dioxide through amount of absorption of carbon dioxide, right? It does not mean net zero production. It does not mean zero production. It means complete overall cycle should be same, right? This is what it means. Now, here, one way one could initiate and reach net zero is by reducing the amount of emissions. We stop using fossil fuels. We stop burning such kind of fuels which result in carbon dioxide emission in the atmosphere. This is one of the ways. The second way to do it is by reducing the amount of carbon dioxide emission outside my own country, outside my own industry, right? For example, helping others, helping other countries, developing countries, to reduce the emission. They don't have technology, let us provide them technology. They don't have finances, let us help them with finances. So these are a few ways by which one can, another country, another industry can help others also reduce emission, right? So this is called as offsetting, right? That means countering, right? We are countering the production of carbon dioxide at other places. We could reduce as much as we could, or we could not, but we are also helping others. So this is called as carbon offsetting. This is another initiative, directly reduce the emissions or carbon offset. This is another technique to reduce, right? So either of these ways could be done, right? This is how the country gets. Now another way is compensation units. If we are not able to reduce the emissions, fine, we will compensate for this. We will pay another country some money in rupees or dollar, or their currency, and we will purchase the emissions. Now that country can only give us these credits if they have credits for themselves, if they are not using excess amount of carbon dioxide emissions, right? For example, Bhutan, right? It is a carbon positive country. That means the net emissions are less, but sequestration is more, right? So from such countries, we can easily purchase carbon credits. And so these are the compensation units. Yeah, right. So these are used. Now, this is what helps in reduction of carbon footprints at the Earth's surface. In this context, the article talks about achieving net zero greenhouse gas emission. We just understood what is net zero and various ways of doing it. One was directly reducing. The second one was offsetting. And the third one is by paying compensation units, right? Okay. Now, the article says that carbon dioxide is a major producer of greenhouse gas effects. So it amounts to almost 75% production of greenhouse gas effects. However, there are other gases also. So when we talk of carbon reduction, carbon dioxide reduction, it is not, when we talk of carbon neutral, it does not mean only carbon neutral. It also means methane. It also means nitrogen gases and fluorinated gases as well, right? We cannot reduce the significance of other gases. It means all the gases. And net zero does not mean zero production of emission. It means net zero. That means if we are producing, we are also ensuring that sequestration of that amount happens. That is what is net zero, right? Now, why is it important? It is important because, for example, we spoke of reducing, we spoke of trying to ensure that the temperature of Earth does not escalate above 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius from pre-industrial levels. However, scientists have estimated that by the end of 2100, by the end of 21st century, we will have maybe 3 to 4 to 5 degrees Celsius rise in the average temperature of the Earth, right? And we are trying to limit it to this level. Now, this is where climate neutrality will come into play. If we achieve climate neutrality by 2050, if we achieve, we will be able to come to levels which Paris Climate Agreement had agreed upon of of having the increase in temperature by maximum 1.5 degrees of the whole Earth, right? So if we achieve climate neutrality by 2050, we will be able to achieve this 1.5 degree only rise in temperature, and not 3 to 4 to 5 degree rise in temperature. Imagine what will happen to animals. We could live in ACs, maybe, probably, but animals, plants, biodiversity, it will all deplete because of such rise in temperature. So this is why climate neutrality is very important, right? It will help that in a way that sea level won't rise. The weather and climate disasters, they will reduce. The impacts on hunger, migration, so many numerous issues which are attached to it. This is how climate neutrality will help. Now, adding a new kind of economy, disruption in economy, it will also help in generating employment, alternative sources of employment, right? So it will be a solution for a lot of issues, right? This is why climate neutrality is important. Now, the countries have started to give their own commitments for this neutrality project, right? For example, there are more than 110 countries which have aligned their goals, and they have declared the net zero objective on it, right? Now, the major producers are China, USA, India, right? These are the 5 major producers. However, EU, EU also comes in the top 3 if all the countries of EU are taken into consideration at once, right? So you can very well see that the top 2 countries, America and China, they contribute to around 42% of emissions, right? And then comes India. Okay, so these important countries, if they contribute to net zero, then we will be able to achieve the goals of Paris climate, right? This is what is the main agenda here. So European Union has also agreed for its climate neutrality by 2050. China also is speaking about it, and so is America. Other efforts taken are, for example, climate neutral now. Now countries are declaring their agenda for climate neutrality by 2050, how they will be able to achieve it, right? There is a race to zero campaign to submit such projects and plans, right? So this is some number of initiatives that have been taken by various countries, right? So what is CBDR? A very important technical concept term is common but differentiated responsibilities. Now, all the countries cannot be asked to play at level playing field, because there are some developed countries, then we have developing countries, and then we have least developed countries, right? Which are the poorer nations of the world. So we can't expect them to be equal participants. They have to be equitable participants in this climate neutrality project. They don't have technology, they don't have finances. We can't expect them to be level player fields. And therefore, although the goal is common, but then they have but differentiated responsibilities. They have differentiated responsibilities, right? And this is where India and other developing countries also have to participate in their own capacity, right? So these countries should not be asked to force a timeline on them. This is an important thing, common but differentiated responsibilities. Also, the developed countries must help them. For example, a fund was committed for helping in climate change. Technology was committed, right? So these things must be given to these developing countries. And this also is a part of common but differentiated responsibilities. The elder brother, the one who has more resources and access to more avenues, must help the younger one, right? So what is the significance of this for India? India's position is that, first of all, it is one of the major emitters, right? Now, the role and position of India here. India is already the world's third biggest emitter of greenhouse gases. India had already committed in Paris climate deal what it will do to reduce the emissions. India had said 3 things. First one is it will reduce the emission intensity in greenhouse gases according to GDP 33 to 35% below 2005 levels. It also said that it will decrease the usage of fossil fuels and increase the alternative sources of energy for electricity production. The goal is 175 gigawatt through solar, wind, biomass, and small hydel projects. They also committed for increasing in forest cover. These were India commitments for Paris climate deal. Now, India says that why are we trying to introduce a newer concept of net zero goal? If we work on these intended concepts, already we will achieve the goal of not increasing temperature by 1.5 degree Celsius. Scientists are of the opinion that yes, if India follows its path, it will ensure that following the Paris Climate Agreement will ensure that net zero is achieved for India. Please read this to understand this part of the article. Now, what can be done? What can be done? A couple of things can be done to initiate this. First of all, there must be alignment in policy to ensure these goals are achieved. Second one, sharing of technology is very important between the countries, between those institutions which already have it and the ones that don't have it. The third is an innovative way. People say that if one changes dietary habits, the way we produce food, that can also help. For example, the flooding of paddy fields causes emission of greenhouse gases. Eating of meat product also releases a decent amount of greenhouse gases. So these are some innovative ways to provide solution. Okay. Now in this article, we understood the concept of climate neutrality, how neutrality is maintained. Does it mean zero or does it mean balancing? It means balancing. Some important keywords to note down are carbon neutral. Net zero. Net zero is achieved through several mechanisms, by reducing or by compensation units, by purchasing compensation units. Note down compensation units. It can also be achieved through carbon offsetting. Please note down carbon offsetting, right? Then we understood the various ways the countries have tried to give commitments, and we also understood what is the common but differentiated responsibilities. So please note down this word, common but differentiated responsibilities. After that, you can also note down what was India's commitment and India's stand on this issue, right? And some innovative ways to find solutions. All right, moving ahead. 7 June 1893 is a very significant day in Indian history. This day in South Africa, this particular station, Pietermaritzburg, this is where Gandhiji was thrown out of the railway compartment. Then he was a young lawyer, Mohandas Karamchand, and he had a ticket for this compartment. Although this compartment mentioned all whites only, and he was not a white, he was traveling. He was asked by certain white passengers to get down of the compartment, and he refused, and he was thrown out. This was the first incidence of a civil disobedience, right? And this gave inspiration to Gandhiji to initiate civil disobedience movement all around in South Africa and later in India. How civil disobedience? He disobeyed by saying that he wants to travel despite having the ticket, although the law was that only whites could travel in that particular compartment, right? So it was an incident of civil disobedience, right? And this should remind you of non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement. Non-cooperation movement, quick overview. Now this was of about, what is the difference? The difference is that in civil disobedience, there was an active disobedience against the government laws. For example, taxes, they won't pay. Revenue, they won't contribute to the government, right? They will violate the forest laws. The Indians would do that. But in non-cooperation, the idea was to only non-cooperate. For example, they will not use the foreign products. They will use only the Swadeshi products, right? Schools had to be boycotted. The colleges, people would resign from government offices. So this is the basic difference, the level of the sanctions and how we will disobey them, right? Moving ahead. For example, a company is established in India. However, most of its selling that happens in USA. Now, since it operates in India, its operating expenditure will be less. It will pay less rent. It will be paying lesser amount in salaries. The wages will be less. The whole operational expenditure will be less, right? So it is saving a lot of amount here. However, since it is selling in America, it will also earn a lot of amount of money. Now, this is where they're trying to save taxes. In fact, many American companies would start having their factories in India, and then they get back to selling in America. And this is what USA is talking about. It says that if their profit exceeds a certain amount of margin, then these companies also will be charged, right? This is what one of the taxation regime talks about, right? Also, for example, India. Now, India has less taxation for FDIs, right? There are many countries which are operating out of India, right? They have only a small office in Mauritius, in Singapore, etc. And they're investing back a lot of Hawala money, right? Indian past Hawala money from these countries like Mauritius, from Singapore, from Netherlands, and they are investing back in India as FIIs and FDIs, and then they are avoiding a lot of taxation. So this is where the concept of minimum corporate tax also comes into play. Now, these are the concepts which are used in these taxation norms, and they have helped the countries tax such kind of tax avoidance. According to this norm, it has also been said that the firms have to report the climate impact of their investment, right? So have a look at this article. You will also get to understand what is base erosion and profit sharing. That means there is an erosion of the base when the company shifts its base, right? There is less profit to the country because the taxation norms change. They go to a country which has got lesser taxation regime, right? So this causes a loss of tax to the parent country. Now, this pact is also expected to benefit India. As I said, India is trying its best, but India cannot raise the rate of taxation because it is a developing country. It wants more of FDI and FII to come into India. And therefore, introducing a minimum corporate tax will ensure that these companies which are based outside, however, transferring money from various other sources, they also get equally taxed in India as well, right? So this article is about global taxation norms. Please note these important keywords: minimum corporate tax, the pillar 1 and pillar 2 of it. Please note base erosion and profit sharing, and please do understand how it is going to help India. The next snapshot is on Model Citizen Charter for Panchayats. It has been prepared by Ministry of Panchayati Raj. The meaning of citizen charter is that any organization, private body, government body will prepare a list of the activities, of the liabilities, of the responsibilities it has towards its customers. For example, if Punjab National Bank has its citizens charter, that means it will talk about what all it will do for the people, how it will aid and assist people and give them better service delivery, right? Similarly, now model citizen charter has been prepared for the panchayats, right? So what is the idea? It represents the commitment of the panchayat to act for the people, right, in a particular time frame and deliver a minimum standard, a minimum quality of service to ensure that grievances of people are addressed, right? It becomes accountable, right? This is the main idea behind having a model citizen charter, right? How does it help? It empowers the citizens, right? It ensures that there is professionalism in the service and there are yardsticks. There is minimum threshold below which the institution will not perform, and thus it can be monitored and evaluated, right? This also enlightens us with the mission and vision of any panchayat, right? If we have a charter, we will understand what is their mission, what is their goal, right? To give better services to the individuals residing in that particular area, right? A time bound service. So this is the main idea behind having a model citizen charter, right? Also, if the panchayat cannot solve that issue, they have to act as facilitator. This is also a part of the charter, right? This is very important for India because most of the population resides in rural areas. Over 60% of the Indian population is a part of villages, right? Also, some very important articles are under Panchayati Raj, for example, health, sanitation, education, nutrition, drinking water. And that is why Panchayat is a very important institution which must be held accountable and responsible for its actions. So please note the important keywords, right? One important keyword is citizen charter itself, right? What are the yardsticks for it? For example, standard, quality, time frame, right? Note down these important words when you define citizen charter. These are to be used: accountability and transparency, grievance redressal, service, right? And then how does it help? Empower the citizens, one keyword. Professionalism, yardsticks, right? Facilitator, in case it cannot operate on its own and it needs assistance of a bigger institutional mechanism. Facilitator, it acts as a facilitator, right? Why is it important? Because 60% of population is a part of panchayat, right? Okay, moving ahead. Image of the day, very interesting. Buddha in contemplation. In this particular area of 5 x 5 foot, there is an invisible sculpture of Buddha. Can you see it? Yes, you cannot see it because it is invisible. There is no image. However, this place was sold for $18,000, right? Italian artist Garbo, he sold this place as Buddha in contemplation. His main idea was to tell people that there is a power in imagination. You imagine something and that is how it will take effect in reality. For example, if we have to go somewhere, we feel very happy, right? If we are about to start a journey, or if we have to watch a movie, we start feeling very happy right before it because we start to imagine what all pleasures, what all joy it will give us, right? There's a power in imagination. Similarly, people get motivated by thinking they will get into the civil services through the civil service examination. Now this is the power in imagination. If you imagine right, if there is a right temperament, you will be able to be in that zone and feel that difference. And similarly, a person who could imagine Buddha in contemplation here bought it for $18,000 rupees, right? We do feel music, we do feel songs. They are not visible to us, they are not tangible products, yet we feel empowered, and we feel an important difference in ourselves. Similarly, this power of imagination can be exercised in any field that we want to exercise it in, right? More so in UPSC, where we need determination, consistency, and discipline. Significant image of the day. Moving ahead. Terms and concept. The first term and concept is Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. The reason it is in news is because it has found that in Syria, multiple usage of the chemical weapons were done, right? This organization was formed as a result of the Chemical Weapon Convention, right? They have institutionalized to ensure disarmament of the chemical weapon throughout the world. The organization was established in 1997 and it is based in Hague, Netherlands. The main idea behind them is three-faceted. One is to end whatever we have already produced, to ensure that they do not emerge, right, re-emerge. And the third one is to eliminate the stockpile, right? So this format can be used at various places. For example, nuclear disarmament, chemical weapon, biological weapon, anywhere which are not productive for humans. The first one is, right, end whatever we have, the development, production, stockpiling, transfer, etc., whatever it is. The second one is to ensure that it does not re-emerge, right? Does not re-emerge. Here's the word here. The third one is to eliminate the existing stockpile. Whatever we have produced already, we have to eliminate that also. The next term and concept is Devika River Project. This is a river project in Jammu Kashmir, Udhampur, and other places nearby. Now, it is in news because this project is under National River Conservation Plan, right? The idea is to develop bathing ghats, then remove encroachments in those underlying nearby areas, and to restore the water bodies. The idea is also to create sewage treatment plants, because rivers are the places. This is the river. The rivers are those places where a lot of sewage is disposed of, right? So have plants here, right? Then have cremation ghats for these nearby areas and protect the place, landscape it and make it, facelift it and make it better, and have some hydro projects so that it develops the nearby areas, right? Now this river also merges into Ravi and flows to Pakistan. Moving ahead, the next term and concept is Bamboo Market Window Portal in the GEM portal. Government has got an e-marketplace portal. Here is the place where government places its demands for products, for procurements online, right? Now this is where it has also introduced the a separate portal window for green gold collection. That means bamboo products. Green gold. What is green gold? It is gold in green color. Yes, it is bamboo. So this is the portal the government has introduced for as a part of GEM, where it will be ensuring that offices order bamboo products also. This will help the rural supply of bamboo products. It will help in having such procurements from rural areas. For example, have a look at the kind of various kind of articles which can be prepared from bamboo, right? And this will also help a lot of entrepreneurs in rural areas, right? It will also help India to become Atmanirbhar. Okay, next. Rules for post-retirement hiring of officials by government organizations. CVC has given a set of guidelines that if government officials have retired and they are getting rehired in the government, there must be methods and mechanisms in place. They must be standard. For example, there have to be vigilance clearance for those people to get reinstituted. Second, they have to be advertisements placed in the public domain for everybody, and there has to be a mandatory cooling off period. There has to be some guideline on cooling off. That means if a person has retired from the office, there must be a gap before they are re-employed. So this is why CVC and this article was in news. Editorials of the day. There are two editorials for today. The first one is about the coastal cities of the country. They're facing the brunt of cyclones. They have to be resilient to ensure that minimum damage happens to the coastal infrastructure. There is a fragile ecosystem, natural ecosystem around it. There is economy in the coastal areas. There is export import business and a lot of things. And therefore, coastal regulation zone have to be implemented very strictly to ensure minimal damage to the coastal infrastructure, right? There are two ways to do it. One is having structural change and the other one is having non-structural changes, right? Read this article through PDF version or go to the website and read the article for getting a better detail into it. The second article is about GST and the issues that it is dealing with. For example, there is no 0% GST for essential products for COVID, and the government has also given its own reasons for the same. Right. The article also calls for rationalizing the GST structure for the states, because what is required is to have the GST distribution in a way that the size of the state is considered and the contribution to revenue is also considered. Right. Click at this article to read more about it. Moving ahead to the case study of the day. This case is based on Miyawaki technique. Right. Now, Miyawaki was a gentleman botanist from Japan, and he introduced this concept of Miyawaki forest in 1980s. Right. The idea was to grow dense forest very quickly. So what he did was, in a very small area, he grew a lot of dense plant vegetation, and instead of taking a lot of time, all the diversity grew up very fastly, and this is what is called as Miyawaki technique. This technique has been followed in India as well. It was followed in Chennai by a group, and they created a lot of green wealth for the city. They created 25 Miyawaki forest, mini forest, with a lot of native variety of trees in a certain area. Right. They started this plantation drive when they were in college. Right. And now we see Chennai city is resilient, and it has become better in the face of the cyclones and other natural disaster that it faces. Right. They're considered as tiny green oasis and a safe habitat for local biodiversity. Isn't it very beautiful? Yes. Right. So this is a great example of sustainable urbanization. Right. This is an example of being the change. People did this while they were in the college, and they are reaping the benefits, the harvests of it. Right. This is also very important to understand that there is no plan B, because there is no planet B. It is our planet Earth. We have to save it. This is an important case study, Miyawaki forest in Japan and in India, in Chennai. And you must see, this is how the city becomes. There is road infrastructure and there are vehicles flying. However, there is a mini forest diversity around it, right? Miyawaki forest. Thank you for listening.